pressure a bit. Let's decide it. Right here in New Orleans, Jaden Daniels to the end zone. Got it! Jermaine Jenkins! My, oh my, what a night in New Orleans! His first college action to send us to overtime.
Opening weekend of college football never disappoints. This is interesting to see. A podcast about sports. It comes out every day. And college football is back. Labor Day weekend had a lot of games go down to the wire. I don't have the clips for all of them, but there were a lot of them. There were, at least off the top of my head, I think there were 7. That essentially the last play of the game was the thing that won. That was LSU versus Florida State. Brian Kelly's debut in the South. His family, probably really sad for him. Florida State loses, LSU loses. Florida State beats LSU. Epic final drive there from the LSU Tigers. And then the extra point to tie the game and go to overtime gets blocked. They score a touchdown and basically what amounts to an untimed down from the 2-yard line. Unbelievable. And the reason that this is important is, Brian, that was the SEC's lone loss, bro. So get it the fuck together. The other great game, I think might as well play the clip here. Utah and Florida was awesome. Utah is a top 10 team preseason. Florida is not, or they were not, but they have an electrifying quarterback we'll talk about here in a second. This is how that game went down.
Seconds to go, and the clock stopping, 1st and goal. Utah's in position to win this game. 2nd and goal. 4-man rush. End zone. Intercepted!
What a dog shit decision to throw that football. My God. But the story from Florida, Utah going to the swamp and dropping 26 and essentially dropping 32. They lose that game 29-26 to Florida. Pretty good for Utah. The thing is that Florida has, and this is if you want to be smart about this, Florida has the best quarterback in the country. People will say Alabama does. No. Florida has the guy that is going to be soon people are going to start talking about the Falcons and the Bears and the Giants and the Seahawks and maybe like the Lions and some other teams drafting that guy. He was awesome. His name is Anthony Richardson. And he's awesome. Other games that came down to the wire, you want to talk about? Wyoming had something happen that was just pure insanity. We can watch that clip as well. This is a really stupid game. Wyoming going in for the game-winning touchdown. They fumble. Then Tulsa's trying to get into position to win it with the field goal. They fumble. Wyoming gets it back, moves it into field goal range, and this is how the field goal goes. I have never seen anything like this in my life. I didn't know this was theoretically possible.
Hold is good. The kick is off the top of the upright and no good.
It bounces literally off the top of the pole, which is interesting because Wyoming has the shortest poles in all of college football because it's so windy. It's 7,200 feet elevation where they play there. So, if it had been any other stadium, it probably doinks in. I mean, I think it probably doinks in. Nope. Wyoming ends up winning that game in overtime. App State, what's up? Let's watch that mess. App State, North Carolina. We'll talk about that in a second. Just highlights for you today. App State, 2-point conversion,
Rice
going for the win.
Has him wide open.
Wide open.
Oh, he overthrew.
Backpedals too fast. Overthrow. So App State, instead of tying the game 56-56 with 31 seconds left, they decide to go for 2 and go for the win. Is this how this game ends? No, absolutely not. False. Nope. What ends up happening is App State then has to onside kick the ball with 31 seconds left. Well, Carolina returns it to the house for a touchdown. Now Carolina is winning 63-55. That's only an 8-point difference. App State then scores again and goes for 2 to tie it, and they don't get it. App State loses to North Carolina by a score of 63-61, I think. Bro, what a shit show that game was. So that's Utah game, shit show. Actually, Utah game was good. LSU, FSU is a shit show. Those teams suck. App State, North Carolina was the shittiest shit show. It was just a mess. Wyoming-Tulsa was a great game by teams that are kind of good occasionally. The big game of the weekend was Notre Dame-Ohio State, and incredibly boring. Notre Dame defense was very good. Ohio State waited them out. Notre Dame couldn't move the ball. They ended up winning by 11. It was so boring compared to all of the other games in terms of how hyped it was versus what ended up happening. Very good game-ish, just incredibly boring. C.J. Stroud, the quarterback who's expected to win the Heisman or compete for it, and also be perhaps the first overall pick in the draft, did not look good. He looked bad. Good for Notre Dame, I guess. Just super duper boring. Incredibly enormous letdown in that game. But all the other games were good. Had some blowouts here and there. Other headlines: Iowa won a game 7-3. They did not score a touchdown. That's 2 safeties and a field goal. They won a ball game. I'll see if I have the stat. I have to memorize it because I lost it. They punted as many times as they got a first down. And they punted 8 times. And I saw this from Tom Fornelli, who's one of the great follows on college football Twitter. Iowa won punting 8 times, which is something that they've done like more times than all of the rest of college football combined in the last 10 years. So they punt. They like to punt. Super awkward because Iowa fans booing the offense. Iowa has one of the long tenured coaches in college football history. The longest tenured coaches are like Saban, and then Kyle Whittingham at Utah, who I think is the best coach in college football. No disrespect to Nick Saban. That's an actual take that I actually have. And Kirk Ferentz, the head coach of Iowa, but the offensive coordinator at Iowa is his kid. Gonna have to fire his kid. There's no chance he loves his kid more than Iowa football. 0% chance. So, yeah, his kid's going to get fired. Whew. Who are they playing? South Dakota State. South Dakota State has an elite NFL prospect at tight end, who will probably be the first tight end taken, according to the nerds. Got hurt in that game, so no offense. Just fucking hilarious. In actuality, South Dakota State dropped what were 2 for sure pick sixes, and Iowa absolutely should have lost the game. No question. But those are not even Division I football players. So if they had been against literally anyone else. The ironic thing is Iowa State looked really, really good over the weekend, so Iowa's going to beat the shit out of them next weekend, of course. I forget what the actual game is called. I don't know why they don't just call it the Corn Bowl. There's another Corn Bowl, but I don't know. Like, it's right there. That's dumb. Oh, my God. College football all the way back. Want to watch a big hit? This is super legal. Super legal hit from Illinois, Indiana. Here we go.
I don't know that it was that.
Watch this tackle. It's not really a tackle. It's more like a hockey body check.
That's what Brett's saying. That's not.
Oh my God. What a terrible decision, just throwing the swing pass. If you watch this highlight early, watch this guy recognize what's happening. Here we go. Watch him. He's like, haha, swings past my ass.
That's not bitch.
Oh, football. This time next week, we'll be talking about Monday Night Football in a doubleheader, which is super duper exciting. Do I have any energy to talk about anything else other than football? So after LSU's loss, these 2 famous wide receivers, including a guy that's expected to go in the top 10-ish, scrubbed LSU from their phones. There were reports by a guy who is an actual reporter that said that Brian Kelly yelled at them aggressively, and then that these guys called Brian Kelly fake, and then they scrubbed LSU from their socials. So are they going to transfer? Who knows? Brian Kelly's going to make LSU football. He's much better coach than they've had maybe ever, but he is not. I mean, he's going to make it not fun, and they like the fact that it's fun. And only Ed Orgeron, because of Joe Burrow, can make it fun and also good. Delaware played a ball game over the weekend. I have no idea who they beat. Maybe that looks like Navy, perhaps. Let's listen to their head coach. What do you have to say? What do you have to say for yourself after this win?
How does it feel?
Well, it feels amazing. I'm just so happy for these guys. All the work we put in. Man, proud to be a fucking Blue Hen, I tell you that.
Love it. Proud to be a Blue Hen. You cannot fly commercially in the state of Delaware. That's the only thing I know about Delaware. And it's where people put all their corporations to hide from the IRS. So if you don't want to pay your taxes, Delaware is that's the state for you. UCLA reported 27,000 people attendance at the Rose Bowl. It, to be frank with you, looks like a lie. That does not look like 20,000 people to me if you're looking on your screen. Nobody went. It was incredibly hot, I guess. Also, UCLA sucks. I don't know if they won or lost. I don't really care. Doesn't really matter. It absolutely does not matter. We'll get you out of here. Nice, quick Tuesday morning. Prepare for some football. So tonight's the last Hard Knocks. I'm probably not going to watch it. It's just a little too late at night, and I'm still kind of recovering from COVID. And then we have Thursday night football. We're going to do prop bets and daily fantasy stuff. If you don't play daily fantasy, I believe if you're a real fantasy nerd, it's the best way to make actual money. Significantly more profitable and safe than betting. And I like doing the single game stuff. We'll review all of that. So Brett Favre is being investigated by the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Mississippi is alleged to have used welfare money to pay Brett Favre for speeches, and then he never made those speeches. So he defrauded a nonprofit charity in Mississippi. What an enormous piece of shit. What a loser. So this is like a crime. And he's perhaps looking at jail time if this is proven to be a thing. Not just like give the money back, like prison. Like prison. Not good. Like, rate, review, subscribe. Welcome to fall. Starbucks is not using their old pumpkin stuff. It's actual pumpkin flavored shit. It's not just nutmeg. People are pissed. Go get yourself a pumpkin spice latte and tell me that it's not a completely different thing. Yeah, it turns out pumpkins are actually not that tasty.